Hey, it's Rick Ginn here, and today we are actually going to have fun. So I'm excited. We're getting ready to head into 2023 for wholesaling, and today we're going to talk about the 70% rule. And I've been doing this business wholesaling for 20 years, and I'm here to tell you why it doesn't work in today's market. It's such a blanket statement, and if you use it, I almost guarantee you will be out of business in 2023. So if you want to learn actually how to come up with the best way to make an offer and stop using archaic methods for like just a one single method that you think that's going to fix everything, is I'm going to show you how it works. Because if I used the 70% ARV, I would not be sitting here talking to you today. So I'm going to tell you the roots and the origins and where it came from and why it doesn't work in modern wholesaling environment. You got to understand, at some point, people took square wheels and said, what if we chiseled them, make them a little bit more round? So I want you to think today about these 70%. We're going to chisel it down and actually give you a formula in this live right here that you can walk away with and confidently know that you can use it to equate if you want to do a deal or not. 70% is a simple yes or no, and 99% you're going to get no's from the sellers because it's just not realistic. And I'm going to show you guys, we're going to walk through it. So do me a favor. Make sure you use the comments. Let us know what market you're from. And if you have a question about wholesaling, put it in there. If you want to do a one-on-one on a mastermind, I actually do them for free. Me and Zach never charge for anything. Just do me a favor. You can go over to Wholesaling Houses for Real and you can click the link there. Or if you are on Facebook and you're seeing this, like, how do I do it? You just have to go into my YouTube, Rick Ginn, and click the link there. And if you're on the StreamYard and you can see it, I believe it is the top comment on there. You can put it in there and that will work too. So that's it, guys. If you are brand new to wholesaling, my name is Rick Ginn. I've been doing this going on 21 years now. And I want you to understand that wholesaling is actually very simple. It's just somehow human beings have complicated it. And whenever you have complication in it, either the government gets in your back pocket or a guru gets in your back pocket, or sometimes it's both. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. And I'm going to show you how to work this. So if you guys are not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe now. It will notify you whenever I release new videos. I do a bunch of recorded videos on here that I don't share on any other channel. And some of you guys want to connect with the old guy, and you guys always have my son, Zach Ginn. You can connect with him. I don't take it personal. Heck, whatever's going to motivate you and help you out, I want you to go ahead and do that. And make sure, for God's sakes, make sure you smash that like button. I always told you I throw my ego out the window, but it does help gauge if we are connecting with you and if the material is working. And it helps people just like you find our channel that are being taken advantage and filtered by like so many coaches that want to take their money. Guys, I think there's more coaches than there are actual deals out there now. It's getting like real bad. So make sure you smash that like button, you subscribe. And if you guys are new to wholesaling, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. This is a course me and my son have devised. It has 27 years total experience in it. And we give it to you from start to finish, how to get your first deal by only giving us your email. In exchange, we walk you through how to do this. It's the most in-depth wholesaling course there is. Honestly, I could charge you 10 grand for it. The reason I do it for free, because I know the minefield that you guys are navigating. You ever get on a live with a guru and they tell you they want to answer questions? The problem is they can't answer most of your questions because it's hidden behind a door. And if you pay and become part of their, whatever you want to call it, wolf pack, tribes, community, whatever it is, that's the problem with the business. So you guys you're just going to get vanilla answers. And that's why so many people gravitate towards me and Zach. If you're a good fit and you like it, great. We can get you through your first deal, easily get you your first 100 grand. And then from there, I'm going to give you all the options in the world you want to do. Most people get super excited about wholesaling. They either pay someone or do something and they try it and it never measures up to what they were going to do. They feel left and inadequate and they leave. So this business has a 95% failure ratio. And the reason is because you guys are over marketed and you're under delivered on what's going on, and it's super expensive. Me and Zach have removed all that. So go over to freewholesaling.com. I think you'll enjoy it. And I promise you this, the only thing I'll ever ask from you is your email. If I ask for any more, then call me on it, because everything we do here is for free. Why am I doing this? Probably my number one question. Number one, I've been in wholesaling going on 21 years, and it's archaic how it's being taught. You guys don't have to pay just for basics to get started. Think about that. Did you pay to learn your ABCs? Did you pay to learn basic math? Wholesaling is no different. Wholesaling is the best. I'm biased. It is the best, most fundamental skill you can learn in real estate, because you can learn how to make money with little to none of your own money, and you can repeat this over and over, and you can create wealth. It is a job. You do have to work on it. But if you can consistently do this for 2 years plus, you will set your family free. You will get your financial freedom. I'm telling you guys, it's exciting. So I am a fully admitted ADHD. I can't even say ADHD. And I didn't even understand this in high school and middle school, but now I do. So I talk fast. Sometimes I'm thinking 2 and 3 sentences above. And I always thought it was a disability, but now I find out it's a gift. So sometimes if I step on you, just, hey, Rick, slow down. I get excited. I really love this business. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. So let's get into it. Maximum allowable 70% rule. So I would love for you guys in the comments, and God forbid, who has a deal right now? Actually, who has a deal right now at 70% using this rule? And I'm being vague here because there's like 10 different there's probably 100 different interpretations of this rule. And this is the problem with everyone using the 70% rule. Using the put in the comments if you have one, and we'll talk about it. I'm wide open because I've been doing this 20 years. The amount of properties that have fit the 70% rule, probably less than 6% of my deals total. I want you guys to think in, and I've done 3,000 plus deals. It's definitely not double digit. I would actually have to go and do some deep analysis, but I will tell you this. On the 70% rule that's genuinely taught, I'm going to go through it, less probably than 8%, probably closer to 5%. It's almost like a unicorn fairy thing. So if you stick to this rule, you guys just aren't going to do a lot of deals. End of story. Let me ask you, how many sellers just would take 70% of your offer? And remember, you're minusing off repairs. Guys, if I followed this rule, I would have quit my first year. And that was in 2003. So why are we still, I remember thinking, I go, that's ridiculous. Because in the end, what is the offer, your maximum allowable offer? Who is it up to? It's up to 2 people. Number one, your seller. You got to get past that one. That's what we use this formula. And then number 2, it's got to be acceptable to your cash buyer. That is constantly moving data, and there is no set way. In an aggressive market, you could be more aggressive. In a tighter market like we're going into, you have to be a much looser. So it's always going to be kind of going back and forth. And if you understand that, that's how all markets move. So let's jump into, and I'm going to do the calculations. And then if you guys in the comments, I would love to see, hey, correct me, Rick, that's not right. It's not working. And let's kind of go from there. So let's talk about, first of all, let me pull it up here. I'm going to give you a checklist. So here's what we'll do. We'll do the formula first, and then I'm going to give you the cheat sheet right after, and then we'll all openly discuss it. So if you guys want to jump on the one-on-one, get online. I kind of do it a first come, first serve. And if you have a question, just go ahead and plug it in there. So I got to keep you guys awake because we're in December. I know the holidays are coming up. Let's keep this ball rolling because I want to make 2023 your best year to date. So now, I'm going to share my screen here before I forget to do this with you guys. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that screen. So Joe says, so I see you guys commenting about, so I would love to see in the comments what you guys think the 70% formula is, because I can tell you it's all over the board. So Guillotine says 70% ARV. That's the formula he's talking about. Yes. So Jojo says 70. My course doesn't say that. I would never put that in my course. I thought it was antiquated 20 years ago. So guys, if you want to join the StreamYard link, the link's in the top. If you're watching on Facebook, just go into my YouTube page under Rick Ginn. Make sure you're subscribed. And we are streaming this through StreamYard right now. So I'm trying to see here. Okay, the closing costs. So let's go through it. Hold on one second. I have to. Thank you. So we're talking about this 70% formula. This is the old school way. And if you guys want to run your wholesaling business, let me know how many deals you get doing it, because if you think you heard crickets before, you're going to see them big time now. Keep in mind, I run a regular wholesaling operation, 7-figure business. If I ran off the 70% number, I would probably have to call my business a day. Like, and you guys let me know if you think the same. So 70%, simply the formula goes like this. And we're going to actually do a math. So basically it says your MAO, I'm sorry, always thinking here. So it's going to be your, whatever the ARV is. And guys, put in the comments, I've seen a lot of crazy definitions of what people think ARV is. I've seen actual retail value. Somebody told me that the other day. I go, I don't think it stands for that. I think that comes from the Price is Right. So guys, let me know what ARV stands for and then I'll write it in there. So let's do ARV. And I'm just going to throw out a random number of an average price of the house in the United States. Trust me, I know I cannot pinpoint every market. So $400,000 is the ARV. So that's right. ARV stands for after repair or after repaired value. Okay. It's that simple. I'm going to leave that up there so everybody knows. I appreciate it. I love when you guys help me out with this. So basically what you do is take the 400,000 and then you multiply it by 0.70. And I got my trusty little calculator sitting out here. So I figured we'd be doing some math here. That's going to leave us $280,000, right? What's the next step? Because this is where most people screw it up. You ready for this? And guys, I'm going to teach you how you don't have to do any of this crap, because this is for the people that want the perfect offer and it's got to be accepted. This is like realtor stuff, but I'm going to tell you why it doesn't work. So 280, what's my next step? Somebody tell me what my next step is and I'll put it in. How do I move on with this calculation to make it work? Because just based on that 280, you do this, you will never, ever be back in business, because we have to know what do we have to know when we're fixing these? People are paying attention. I love it. So we have to minus off the repairs. Keep in mind, this isn't my formula. This is the one that everybody's been teaching for the last 25 years. So less repairs. Okay. So let's just assume $40,000 in repairs, right? And now we're down to $240,000, right? Now, what's the next step? What do we have to add to this number for us to come up with our maximal allowable offer to the seller? What is the one thing we're missing to make this formula complete? So don't worry about the date. That's just, I just jumped in here and automatically defaults to that. So apologize. Okay. So we've done the minus repairs. And the next thing we have to offer off is, you're right, the assignment. So assignment. So let's just do the bare minimum, which I hate doing that, but $10,000. So that means your $230,000 MAO for a $400,000 house. Now, let me ask you, how many of you actually think you're going to go in and get sellers to agree to a $230,000 price? What do you think is going to happen when you go in with this number? Say, Mr. Seller, listen, the most I can pay according to my numbers is $230,000. And the seller goes, how in the heck did you come up with that number? What are you going to say to them? Because you're going to be put in a huge predicament. Are you going to say, my guru taught me the 70% formula and I cannot, that's the most I can pay? Guys, according to this number, this is the most you can pay. Do you know how crazy this number is? I get it. We're in a tough market, but I'm here to tell you, not only are you going to get a strong no, you are most likely going to get kicked out of the house. You're going to waste your time and you're going to tick the seller off. And most importantly, you're going to get a 0.0. That's how much you're going to get paid if you guys use this formula. Now, I'm not saying there are people that will occasionally say yes. If I had to present this offer to 10 people, I guarantee you most likely 9.8% of them are going to reject it. And you are going to have to extrapolate some major offer numbers to get these numbers to work. Why? Because guys, I do this business every day. I talk to a lot of wholesalers. There is no way on average, if you use this formula, it's going to work. So I want you to think about this. I'm going to fast forward to make this super simple. Let's switch to the cash buyer side. Okay. We all understand that the 70% is going to get us a 99% rejection rate of no. It just doesn't work for the seller. And guys, that's the problem. It works. Let me ask you, of cash buyers, you guys tell me by a show of hands, is if you presented this deal to a cash buyer for $240,000, what percentage of cash buyers would accept that? If you had to run this by 10 cash buyers and go, listen, Rick, I got this house for 400. I'll give you 240. It's clear to close. You're ready to go. Are you in? What do you think they're going to say? What's a cash buyer going to say to this deal? You're right. Probably 95%, and the other 5% probably aren't cash buyers. They're going to say yes. Do you guys see the problem? the whole 70% formula is only geared towards the cash buyer, and it doesn't even consider your seller. And the reality is you really can't entice your cash buyer until you get your seller to give you a yes commitment. If I offer 70 cents on the dollar, I'm constantly going to be rejected to the point, don't even worry about getting to the cash buyer. You all know there would be, yeah, it's probably like 10. Well, the other 5%, Rick, would be probably they're not real cash buyers. So I agree with you. So this is the challenge. So understanding on the cash buyer, I'm going to fast forward on this. On average, this would give your cash buyer close to a 30% return. I believe it was like 32 when I figured it, but listen, a 30% return is phenomenal in flipping a house. That's a lot of money. So I don't want to go into details because it's going to take too much time. So your guys are probably saying, hey, Rick, what is the formula that works in your business and which is the one you have the best success rate? So I want you to understand that let's go through it. I'm going to show you the flaw in that offer system. First of all, it's antiquated. And number two, it really comes down to your seller and your buyer. In the end, that's what it comes down to. That formula is supposed to help you educate on how you do a maximum allowable offer. So if you want to use like a 70%, if you want to use a offer formula, this, in my opinion, is the modern correct way to do it. Now, it's my opinion. You take it for what you want. Like you can tell other people are going to argue till they turn blue. Okay. So let's take the ARV, 400,000, right? Now, what I do is I minus the repairs off up front. Why? Because I want to figure out what kind of offer I'm going to make on the property in its current condition. So I'm going to take the repairs and I minus it off the top. Yes, I do it differently. It's just easier this way. And that gives us a value of 360,000. So MAO, guys, what does MAO stand for? Somebody put it in the comments because this is the point of this conversation. This is why the 70% doesn't. Do you realize on that 70% number I presented you earlier of 230,000, that's the most you can offer. The most. You don't have any room to go up. That's it. Take it or leave it, right? So MA, man, I don't even know why I just let you guys do this. So you're right. The MAO is for the maximum allowable offer. The keyword here is max. It's ridiculous, guys. Just by minusing off the repairs before you can get a much more accurate number. So let's go through this. So we're at 360, okay? In our course, we teach you 0.83. Keep in mind, the keyword here is max. I don't want you to pay this, but this is the most I'm gonna let you even consider offering on it, okay? So if we go up to the max range, that gives us 298,800, and then we're gonna put our assignment fee, say 10,000. I'm gonna change that because what you asked for is usually what you get. I'm going to put 15,000. So that's 800, 13. So I want you to look at this. So you can theoretically offer 313,000 and change on this type of property and still walk away. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I didn't minus. You can tell I'm doing this live, right? Sorry about that. Good catch. Okay. So we minus that off. That's why I use accountants, by the way. You can still offer 283,800. Okay. And the difference is, remember, this is the max offer. If you use your traditional 70% formula, you can only offer 230. I'm coming in right behind you. If I have to, I'm willing. In a good market with a lot of buyers and a lot of opportunity and good comps, I can go as high as 83. Now, we've just witnessed this in this current market. That's the maximum, okay? The problem with the 70% rule, you guys are going to have you're going to have crickets chirping all night because nothing's going to happen. It's absolutely not going to work. So the difference is between an offer of 283 and 213, whatever it was, on the 70% guru formula. Now, keep in mind, the key word here is max. The problem with this, 213, you're going to have a 98% rejection rate, probably 99. End of story. Let me clear. Sorry about that. Okay. The key word is max. So many of you guys think like that's the rule. So the problem is, so if your 283 gets rejected, can you go up in the offer? No, but that's the most you pay. If you want to put 70% and you can get it, it'll work. Here's what I want you to understand. And I'm going to share with you some more numbers here. And don't worry, guys, this is recorded. You can come back to it. So this, in my opinion, if you take the ARV, you minus the repairs, and you multiply that on a range of numbers that actually make sense, and that's between 0.7 and 0.83. This is the max, And honestly, you could actually get this down to like whatever you want it to be. But 0.7, honestly, that's like saying, listen, you can go out there and buy any Rolex watch as long as you get it 50 cents on the dollar. Do I really need to tell you that rule? It's a given. So knowing that this is your simple, what I call modern day offer formula, and it works. The key is that's max. With the 70% formula, the difference is you take the ARV, you multiply that by 0.7, and then you minus off your repairs. And by the way, on both of them, you're going to minus off your assignment fee, and then you get your maximum allowable offer. Just so I don't get misquoted here, let me put this out correctly, because someone's going to say it, times whatever number you want. And so you could do this at like 0.8, which I think is a good max number, but it depends on the market. And then you're going to minus off your assignment fee. And then that gives you your MAO. With this one right here, you're going to get, it's only catered towards the cash buyer. So I want you to think about it like this. Here's the reality. So if I have a spectrum here and say this is the 70% formula that was created in like 1982, and that's the truth of it. I went back, it comes from like 1982. And then let me ask you this in the comments, if you were selling your home and you had issues with it and you say you didn't want to deal with a realtor and you wanted someone to buy it cash, what percentage would you minimum expect if you had to deal with someone like me or like an open door or anything like that? Put in the comments there, what do you think what the percentage would be on the offer? Like, so if say the house is just 200,000, what percentage of a discount would they expect to sell it quickly to a cash buyer? Like a dream scenario. I'm not talking like where it's going to wind up. What do you think that percentage is? And the reason you want to understand this is you got to understand the balance between the seller and the buyer. If you are going to go off this 70% formula, who do you think it's geared towards? It's geared 100% towards the cash buyer's needs. And probably 95% would say yes. That's where we are. Love it. Solves all your problems. The problem is, how many deals are you really going to get doing that? So I would love to, and by the way, I love Carlton Sheets. And actually, his whole family's in the neighborhood where I live. So the dude had it right back then. Nobody gave him credit for what he did, and I think he's amazing. So his son is around here in Florida. So he is actually an investor that actually very active. So they had it right. So I'm going to answer the questions on it. The reality is when my people, and then I spent 7 years with this, is the seller typically wants 90%. Okay. They're figuring about 6% for the realtor, and then like another 3% in closing costs, and probably a 1% negotiation. So most of the people you meet, they're usually going to play with you about 10% because they know there's no way to get around those costs. Even if the realtor gets them what they want, those numbers are coming off of it. So don't you agree there has to be some sort of medium that you can figure out what to do? So when we wind up at, if you figure, we're not talking about splitting the difference. So don't start that one with me. I want you guys to win and make as much money as you can on every deal. But if you don't have any deals and you're constantly beating your head against the pavement, it means if you're going to stick to the 70% rule, you're going to get killed in this business. It worked for a long time because there was not a lot of rules. There wasn't a lot of data. And for the most part, I want everybody hear me out. If you can get a house 70% off the ARV and then minus off the repairs and get the number you need less your assignment fee, do it. It's a guaranteed deal. The problem is you are going to struggle with all your sellers, and you'll get close to 100% compliance to your cash buyers. I would love to do it. The problem is I in modern today can't get the sellers to accept 70% unless there's something horribly, horribly wrong, and I still have to compete with everybody else. So the reality is most of our offers wind up somewhere between 76% and 83%. This, my friends, is the honest to God truth. This over here, it happens and you celebrate it, but it is a rarity. And if you're going to build a business off a extremely rare event happening, you are going to be out of business. It's just the truth. The reality is, here's how I look at it. If I can limit my risk and somebody wants to pay me more than what I have my contract for, and I'm not driving myself nuts by canceling contracts all the time, I'm in. I don't give a crap if I'm paying 88%. If somebody wants to pay more, like we've been through this recent market, I get it. The market shift, 83% is going to be aggressive. A lot of you are going to wind up between 76 and like 80 to 81% in the reality of these. Okay. So now we're going to talk about a mind shift, because this stuff hurts my head. I'm getting ready to puke. I just did so much math in my head. and my algebra teacher would probably be proud of me to even get through this moment. So let's talk about this. I'm going to do that same graph here, and I want you to visualize this. This is your MAO, right? Maximum allowable offer. On this side is your least allowable offer, LAO. And by the way, I've coined phrase it, so if any other guru use it, you know where it came from first. So the problem is, you ready for this? Every one of you are being taught to find the perfect offer. Perfect offer. Why? Because you want a yes on the first try. You don't get a yes on the first try. If you do, you paid too much. And that's 90% of you guys' problem. If you got a yes on your first offer, you paid way too much. So we spend all this time creating these offers and doing this math. And the biggest challenge is finding out the correct ARV. If you can dial in the correct ARV, you can figure out what to actually make an offer, at least the most you're going to pay. But the problem is we spend all our time trying to figure out how much to offer, when in reality, it's like, listen, I'm probably not going to go above this number. But if your maximal allowable offer and how we teach it is, say, 83%. And honestly, that's going to be challenging in today's market, probably closer to 80 to 78, something like that. The reality is you should be on this side. Forget 70%. Okay. You need to come in and figure a 50% offer. Why? Because what you're truly interested in is, so many of you are trying to make this perfect. Oh my God, I got to get a yes. When the actual destination to get a yes is no. If you go for the no, they will come back and give you what? A counter. A counter is something you can work with. Now you have hard numbers that you can either reverse engineer the math to see if you can get a profit by putting it under contract and selling that contract to a cash buyer, or maybe they're just the numbers so far out that you just can't make it work. But we spend all our time trying to get this, when as long as you build rapport and you'll connect with people, you can go in and do the go for no offer. So if a house is worth 200,000, go, listen, I know I'm probably reaching on a straw here, but would you consider $100,000? And shut your mouth. And then they're either going to say no and kick you out, which is rare, or they're going to say, no, I can't take less than this, or we have this issue and we can't go below this number. Now I have a number, and now I can start the real negotiations. Stop spending all your time here. This is what's going to drive you out of business. You're trying to make everything perfect. You want a yes, you need a no, so you can get what? A counter. Once you have a counter, then you can actually negotiate with people. But going in on a 70% rule, I guarantee you rejection. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Number one, hold on, let me get out of this. It takes a lot of experience, which most of you don't have off the bat, and that's okay. That's going to be your weapon of destruction, because you're going to be enthusiastic and you're going to want to help people out. But the reality is, if you don't go for no, you are going for a yes. And if you truly want to get to the yes destination, you actually have to use the no by going for no. You see, you can simplify it. I already told you, if you spend more than 10 minutes doing your ARVs and calculations, if you use the 70% formula, you are going to be sitting there calculating for hours on hours. And the reality is, you don't even know how motivated your seller is. So for you, you have to use the go for no technique. If you don't know how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. I teach the whole thing. Guys, we've got to bring some sanity back into our markets. And I'm telling you, it just drives me nuts on this whole, let's just 70% rule. By the way, on average, I've done the study. On average, on a 70% rule, you're leaving you know what? I'm going to show you. By using the 70% rule, your cash buyers are going to be yielding a 30 to 32% ROI. In the comments, ask if you think that's acceptable. Do you think that's is that bare minimum? But guys, 30%, there's very few things in this world you can get a 30% return on. And here's the other thing, the 70% rule drives me nuts. Ready? By the way, most cash buyers, their targeted ROI, because I am one and I buy stuff, is 20. In today's market, in a rough market, 20 to 25%. When you go off the smoking market we just got it was low as 8 to 15%. So we've shifted from 8 to 15% ROIs on cash buyers, from 20 to 25. Guys, that's it. That's the only thing that's changed here. And you guys are using these rules that are absolutely crazy. So real quick, I know I'm giving you a lot of information. I still got to finish you up with numbers. So offer 50% of the ARV, that would offer be lower than 70. You're right. Here's the difference. It's how you do the presentation and build it up. My initial shoot over the bow is not a finalized maximum offer. You understand that? 50% is a starting. So, EJ, understand this. If you do the 70% rule, you're done right here. You cannot progress and make a bigger offer. You're done. You're done. You're trying to get a yes on the first shot with no negotiations. And that is the problem with the 70% rule. They're treating you like a transaction. The reality is you have to talk to people. You have to spend time. You got to build rapport with sellers. And then you got to get intel and gather data from your cash buyers. And the idea is you have to figure out what both parties want and find a compromise where you can make a healthy living and solve problems and make everything work. 70%, you're going to get rejected most of the time. The way we offer it, I know so if I go over here and I do 50%, remember, this is the max. What's my max I told you? If the seller's at 90% and your range is between, say, like 75 and 83%, this allows you to keep going up. And what it will most likely do is draw out a counter offer. So I want to get a counter from the seller. And when they give me a counter, it's probably going to wind right about here and there, somewhere in here. Now, what happens here? It's called negotiations. The 70% rule doesn't want to negotiate. You are actually it's like going to McDonald's and picking out a number 1, 2, or 3. How many times do seller goes, okay, I'll just give you the house 70 cents on the dollar. Oh, you want to minus off repairs? Do that. Oh, you want to minus off a assignment fee? Let me ask you, if your 70% rule offer gets rejected, how are you going to counter? You have no room to do anything. You're done. What do you just walk out? You might as well email it, guys. It would be easier, more efficient. So the idea is everybody wants value. They want this. You're here. The reality is you have to have a conversation. You have to have rapport. And most importantly, you got to figure a number that works for everybody. Now, I'm not telling you to be a realtor. The 70% rule worked. Guys, if you get 70%, do it. The rule works. The problem is the rule is 100% catered towards cash buyers, and it's not going to consider your sellers at all. And that's the problem with it. So what I want to do is, let's see here. These are good observations. So try 60%. It's funny. So let me go through and give you some basic other rules that are often overlooked. Now, as a price gets bigger, the 70% rule gets more distorted and even more out of whack, because think about it. If you had a $500,000 house that needed $100,000 of repairs, you would take the offer and say 500,000 times 70, that's 350. Say it needs $50,000 repair. Now you're down to 300. How many sellers are actually going to go for that? It's very few. And the problem is the 70% rule makes you a robot. It doesn't take in consideration other than the cash buyer. So the 70% rule should be like the 100% guaranteed cash buyer offer that will work every time rule. That's what it is. So as the numbers get bigger, it gets more contorted. So let's talk about this again. Okay. I'm going to put something on the screen. Guys, don't worry about writing it. You can go back and watch the replay because it's going to be a little bit much, but we only have so much time here and I want to talk to you guys. So the thing I want you to understand is the ARV minus repairs at 70%. If the value is under 120K, it'll work. Okay. If I'm in points of like Detroit, all of pretty much Ohio and stuff like that, when you have small values, the numbers get real tight. And I want you to play with these. You don't have to worry about it right now. So at 120K low, you can push that 83 as low as 70. And we have it's all in freewholesaling.com, or you can get it off this live here. You can do whatever you want. Now, when we go up above 120 to 250, we typically targeting that number on our offer formula around 80. And guys, it is a max offer. When you get to that point, you go, man, if I can't get headway with the seller, I'm not going to waste my time on this deal. It's not a take it or leave it type of deal. It doesn't work that way. And that's the problem with the 70% rule. A lot of people think that's the law. Either they take 70 cents on the dollar minus repairs, or we don't have a deal. The problem is that's like a needle in a haystack. And the last 100 deals I've done, I've had less than 5% of them be like that. It's just the truth. If I sat back and did, I'd still make a bunch of money, and I wish everyone would take it, but it's a wish list. It's not reality. It is a cash buyer's dream. Most of the sellers are going to reject it. And that's why you have to put a brain in when you make these offers. You cannot be a robot. It's not going to work. Now, when you go above 250 and you're in markets like California and New York, it's very, very, very rare, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is to get less than 83%. Sometimes I've done them lower, but the reality, as the number gets larger, the numbers get much more skewed. You have much more advanced sellers, and they're going to demand more money. Test me out on this. I'm telling you. I went back. I had Zach help me do this. We picked up, we looked at 100 wholesaling deals. I think we've done it within the last 2 years because I didn't want to spend hours and hours researching everything because I have to pay an accountant to do that. So, ready for this? The average on the deals when the cash buyer bought it and they cashed it out, because you got to go back and look at after you sold it on assignment or however you did it. They averaged about 40 grand. Okay. And that put them at an average number of 15 to 20% ROI. Remember, we talked about this. If you use the 70% formula for the maximum allowable, that means every one of your cash buyers is probably going to make between a 30 and 32% profit. And if you use that, I just honestly, if you buy 70 cents on the dollar and then you might call me, I'll buy them all day long because I know I'm not going to get a phone call. They're very rare, or you're not telling me something about the deal. And this is why I'm trying to tell you. The reality, guys, is you don't know how much your deal will sell for. Stop trying to predict the complete unknown and go with what you do know. You know you have to build rapport. You know that you're going to get to a yes destination. You're going to have to use a no. So use it correctly. And when you get a no, that is a counter. And that's where you start negotiating. Or if you're going to use the 70% rule, the other closing technique that I was taught, and it worked when I started, is, hey, Mr. Seller, if I paid all cash and closed quickly, what's the least amount you would take for this property? And then after they give you a number, go, is that the best you can do? If you do that today, I guarantee you're going to get kicked out of all houses that you go in. But guys, this is the bottom line. Sellers don't care about your MAO. They don't care about the 70% rule. And honestly, the buyer doesn't either. On average, buyers want to get a return. They want more in today's market. And I love it for that. But I look at, I buy lots of real estate. I'm not a fix and flipper, but I have people that will do that. But I'm a silent partner because I don't want to manage any of that crap because I hate it. But when the deals I'm involved in right now, I'm happy at 20%. Like in today's world, I'm really happy at 20%. It's all predicated on the risk you want to take. And the risk, I can't put this on paper and do this underwriting. The reality is you have to find highly motivated sellers. And how do you do that? You just got to go in at the LAO without getting kicked out. And then you can work your way up. If you try to get the yes and get the perfect offer and you don't want to negotiate, then go ahead and use the 70% formula and just, let me know what you want to do for a living, because most wholesalers, you talk to them on average. Guys, I've done deals and paid 98% of what I considered the ARV. Why? Because I had somebody who would pay me more for the property and I was mitigating my risk. And even the seller knew that I was risky if I was even going to close. Because the reality is the higher we got to go up in the price, the longer you have to make your contingencies period, because I don't want to be obligated to closing on something that's not going to work. So if it's not going to work for me, it's probably not going to work for my cash buyers. And that's it. So guys, this is it on the 70% rule. Guys, there's a lot of rules in life and a lot of things that start out and things just progress over the time. I'm not trying to get cute and fancy, but if I taught this to my staff, I'd be out of business. I would actually have to go out and coach you guys. I would have to charge you ridiculous fees. And then I would tell you got to use this formula because it works. And the reality is that's how a lot of coaching works. They use outdated formulas that don't work today. At the peak of the market we were doing as high as 85, 86%. Now we are sub 80, but 70, no way, not even close. So our last few deals, our best deals was around 75, 76. And we did really nice, healthy assignment fees. We worked much hard. We're working much harder on the cash buyers. So AOS, should we offer less than prices are expected? If you use the LAO, then you can find out what the least amount your seller would take and save face doing it. Yes, we're going to pay less. What you need to really do is spend time with your cash buyers and find out what they're willing to pay in certain areas for certain types of properties to figure this part out.